Om Namo Narayanaaya. Om Namo Narayanaaya. Respected friends, welcome all with greetings, gratitudes, salutations, congratulations. Let us do our Mangalacharana Shloka. Then let us study Yoga Vaashishtha Maha Ramayanam, 3rd Utpatthi Prakaranam, 18th Sarga, in that Samasta Jagat Bhranti Pratipadanam is done. It's all in the intellectual understanding that though the Jagat is appearing experiential to the Upadhis, yet including the Upadhis and the Jagat and the experiences from the absolute standpoint are Bhranti only. So let us not give reality to the Bhranta and let us not forget the reality. Realize the reality and know that this is Bhranta and therefore don't get bound. When you know Bhranta, you will not. This is the Bhranta by Jagat, pata hota hai to definitely will not be bound. That clear understanding, conviction should come to us. Jagat Bhranti Jnana helps us in realizing the reality. Realizing reality helps us in knowing that the Jagat is Bhranta. And when the reality is realized, the Atmanubhava Ananda comes. When the Jagat is Bhranta known, and yet we live in the world at the Upadhi level, knowing that it is Bhranta, it gives us mukti in the sense we don't get bound. So dukkha rahityam, dukkha se mukti, sukha prapti, there both will happen. These are not just words, this is what are the experiences of all saints, sages. They share with us through all these wonderful shastras which are coming and guiding generations together. Time eternity say millions and millions jivas got benefited, liberated by receiving this guidance from these shastras. Prayers. Om 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 Sahanavavatu Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Om Yairime Guruvihi Purvam Om Shankaram Shankaracharya Om Sri Rama Rama Rameti Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Parabrahmane SHRUTIMAATRE Samastha Brahma Bhakti Yoga Dharma Vidyacharya Rishibhyo Munibhyo Gurubhyo Devatabhyo Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha Sri Ramachandra Parabrahmane Sri Vaashishtha Vishwamitra Valmiki Vedavyasa Vamadeva Narada Adi Sri Yoga Vaashishtha Maharamayana Dinam Shastranam Acharyebhyo Namaha Sankalpaha Tesham Sarvesham Krupanugraheణ Upanishad Yoga Vaashishtha Maharamayanokt Brahmatmaikya Bodhena Asmin Kshane Eva Moksha Kaivalya Praptyartham Sanatana Dharma se Vishwavyapti Vishwa Adhyatmika Pragatyartham Dharma Samsthapakanam Nitya Nirantara Digvijayartham Sri Rama Mandiravat Shiva Krishnadi Mandiradinam Punaravapte Tesha Nirantara Shastra Adhyanadinam Dvara Bharata Varshasya Sanatana Dharmasya Vahyabhyantara Shatruvigna Samula Nirmula Purvaka भारतवर्षे विश्वे च अस्मात् क्षणादारभ्य वैदिकहिन्दव संस्कृतेः धर्ममोक्षपुरुषार्थानां सुसम्प्रतिष्ठावाप्त्यर्थम् अस्यां कक्षायाम् आगतानां सङ्कल्पितसत्कर्मसु दिग्विजयार्थं तेषां हृदये परब्रह्मादीनां प्रति भक्त्यादीनां द्वारा जन्मसाफल्यार्थम् अनेकशास्त्राणाम् अध्ययन साधना प्रयत्नमध्ये श्री वाल्मीकि महर्षि रचित श्री राम वशिष्ठ संवाद रूप श्री योगवासिष्ठ महारामायण स्मृति प्रकरण मोक्ष शास्त्र से पारायण अध्ययन साधना प्रयत्न मोक्षार्थम वयं सर्वे करिष्यामहे। मंगलाचरण श्लोकाः। ओम यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैवोपशमं यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः। ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दर्शन दृश्यभूः कर्ता हेतुः क्रियायस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञप्त्यात्मने नमः स्फुरन्ति सीकरायस्मात् आनन्दस्याम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः दिवि भूमौ तथाकाशे बहिरन्तश्च मे विभुः यो विभात्यवभासात्मा तस्मै सर्वात्मने नमः ॐ सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तमेकमजरं नित्यं विभुं शाश्वतं प्रत्यग्ब्रह्मरसायनं सुखघनं पूर्णं परं पावनं स्वात्मज्योतिरनादिमध्यनिलयं मायाविलासैर्मुहुः अनादिमध्यनिधनं मायाविलासैर्मुहुः विश्वाकारम् अपास्तमायमभयं वन्दे विशुद्धं पदं ज्ञानादेवात्मनो मोक्षः ननु कर्म न तु कर्म समाधिभिः अज्ञातोऽसौ ससदृश्यं सृजत्येवेति कीर्त्यते ॐ तस्मै श्रीगुरवे वसिष्ठमुनये नित्यं नमस्कुर्महे विश्वामित्रमुनिं शरण्यमनघं भूयो नमस्याम्यहं तस्मै वाल्मीकये श्री गुरुतमगुरवे भूरिभावैरनताः स्मः पूर्णानन्दस्वभावः स्वजनहितकृते माययोपात्तकायः कारुण्यादुद्दिदीर्षुर्जनमनवरतं मोहपङ्के निमग्नम् आविश्यान्तर्वसिष्ठं बहिरपि कलयन्न शिष्यभावं वितेने यः संवादेन शास्त्रामृत जलधिममुं रामचन्द्रं प्रपद्ये रामचन्द्रं प्रपद्ये ओम श्री रामचंद्र परब्रह्मणे नमः श्री योग वासिष्ठ महारामायण शास्त्रम तृतीय उत्पत्ति प्रकरणम जगद्भ्रांति प्रतिपादनम नाम अष्टादश सर्गः. So, having woken up from Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Leela saw all the people, servants there. Others also she wanted to ensure, called for Sabha. They all came early morning only. They saw them, got assured, gave assurance, dispersed, went into Antapura, saw husband's Sharira in that Pushpas. Then she has a doubt, which is real, this or that. Anna? Then who can answer it? Only Jagannatha, Saraswati. Therefore, she did Upasana to Mother Saraswati, invoking her presence. Kumarika Rupa, Mother came. Then she made her sit. She made Mother sit, Saraswati Mata. She did all the Upasana. She herself sat at her feet. Then, as ever, a beautiful stuti she has done. Then she wanted to ask that questions. That stuti also so beautiful. Let us take 1 minute just to see that. Anukampyasvano Devi Vajantyudvegamuttamaha Tvayaiva kila sargadau Stapita stitiruttama. Uttama Udvega has come to me, O Mother, because of doubts, confusion. You are the one who are the creator of the whole world. You only establish the way the world to run. Therefore, I am having a question asking you in the answer of yours, in which there is an anugraha. With that, my janma will become safal. I'll ask a question, you will answer. That's your anugraha. That answer is the one which is going to give safalata to my janma. Then she describes this world, what she is seeing right now. Then she also tells what she saw in that Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Now her question is, which is real akrutrima, which is imaginary projected krutrima? Because both are there, looking same, two things cannot be real. एक ही तरह के जो दो चीज हो ही नहीं सकते ना. Therefore, one must be akrutrima, the real, the other must be krutrima, imaginary or projected. So, which are these two are? Krutrima and akrutrima. So, tatra vai krutrima ka syat Kritrima means artificial, unreal. Then kasyat, then uh, uh, kasava syad akritrima. Then what is that which is not imaginary, which is real, which is not artificial, which is true. To that, now we are entering into the text from the Pandrahama mantra. These two, three Prashnottari we already have seen. Again, we will see. Sri Devi Uvacha. She says, Akrutrimatvam sargasya kidrusham vada sundari kidrusham krutrimatvam syat yathavat katayeti me. In your opinion, on what basis you are calling something as akrutrima real, something as krutrima unreal? You just explain to me what's your background understanding. Kiss basis. So beautiful discussion, huh? Very good. What we study in all Upanishads, that is in a question answer form, discussion form. They made it little more easier for our comprehension, for our understanding. So, what is Krutrima according to you? What is Akrutrima? So, then Leela says, Leela Vacha, Yata ahamiha tishtami. See, I'm sitting in front of you. पकड़ो मुझे हाथ मुझे ऐसे चलो चिमटा दो आई फील द पेन ऑफ इट त्वम च देवी स्थिता अंबिके वो मदर अंबिका देवी यू आल्सो सीटेड इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी देन असौ अकृत्रिमः सर्गः इति देवेशी अहम वेद I believe, I feel this is the Akrutrima, non-artificial means real world. Because I am seeing, I am experiencing and all. Very attentive, huh? अगर आप आराम से सुनकर सूक्ष्म बुद्धि से if you listen to these discussions, definitely the opening happens. The intellectual opening along with the ज्ञानम it will happen to us. Try करो. मैं भी ट्राई करता हूँ हर दिन इसलिए तो पढ़ रहा हूँ अगर मुझे समझ में आ जाता लॉन्ग बैक I would have stopped the satsang. But every day I am trying and it is little helping. So listen carefully, attentively. In her opinion, I am seated here, you are there, then the whole world is seen in front. So this is all Akrutrima, I believe. Aham ved, me. I believe this is Akrutrima, non-unreal, real. Krutrima means unreal, artificial. Akrutrima is non-artificial, so real. Then, yatra adhuna sa bharta me stitaha, sargaha. Where my husband is there now, his body is here in this Akrutrima sarga, but where in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi event, I saw my husband seated in the Simhasana in the palace, all of that. That is Krutsa Krutrimaha. In my opinion, that is Krutrima, unreal, artificial. Aham manye. You may ask the reason why. Yataha shunyaha desha kaladi apurakaha. Therefore, why? Because it occurred to me when I sat at one place, within me only, where desha kala are not fitting. When I sit in my inner, let us say, meditation too, that experience happened. So the desha kala won't suit there. So in my small mind, how come such a big palace and so many people seated? And the kala too. In this विकल्प समाधि में 2-5 मिनट था बट वहां दिन रात I experienced daytime, night time. So desha kala doesn't suit. Therefore, that swapna, that jagat is krutrima. This is akrutrima. Now the Devi is asking further question. कि कृत्रिमो अकृत्रिमात् सर्गात् न कदाचन जायते. She is explaining. So कृत्रिमः unreal, अकृत्रिमात् सर्गात् from the reality न कदाचन जायते. So as we were telling you yesterday, exactly the same thing we exhaustively dealt in our daytime Telugu class on Mandukya Upanishad, where all these four were rejected. From the Asat, Asat will not come. So from the Sheshavishana, horns of hair, Akasha Pushpa, the sky flower, cannot come. From the Asat, the Sat cannot come. Again, from the hair of the horn, Shashashranga, a pot real. Sat cannot come. Asat says Sat. Then from the Sat, the Asat cannot come. From the pot, the horn of the hair will not come. Then from the Sat, Sat cannot come. Because from a pot, pot cannot come. From a cloth, cloth cannot. From a cloth, pot, from a pot, cloth also can't come. So too illogical, because already is there, isn't it? In that way, in every Karana Karya Sambandha, then Srishti were rejected there. If Srishti is rejected, what is there is Brahman alone. Then what I am seeing? Brahman only, because of lack of that deep knowledge, seen through your upadhis in the form of forms and giving names and differentiating just because of the differences in forms and names. ओके, गुण द्रव्य उन फर्कों के कारण एक दूसरे से अलग आपको दिख रहे है ना. लाइक इट्स अ कोल्ड आइस टू टच, hot fire to touch, isn't it? So much difference in the anubhuti of them. Basing on that anubhuti, you are differentiating the cold ice and the hot fire. But basically, the fire, whether it is hot, first of all, it has to exist. So to the ice, if it has to be cold, first of all, it has to be existing. So on the existence, here the coldness, here the hotness, heat, both are projected. That's how morning it was sorted out. Here also she says, from the Krutrima, Akrutrima, the Krutrima cannot come. So therefore, that Krutrima is not the result of this Akrutrima, not effect. Therefore, both of them analyze independently, don't relate to each other. On the independent analysis, both are found to be mithya. Then what is real is Brahman only. That Brahman is Chidakasha, which I told you to realize. In that only Chittakasha, Chitta Jagat, Bhutakasha, Bhuta Jagat were kalpita. And in that, when we impose reality, we get bound in that through Ragadvesha and Samsara. These are heavy Vedantic things not required for me now. ऐसा सोचकर हम सब छोड़ते हैं. पर उस छोड़ने करोड़ों लोगों में एक दो बंदे अगर सोचता है कि नहीं नहीं इसमें कोई सीरियस नॉलेज है, whatever difficulty in trying to know it, I will go through और I will understand करके जो कोशिश करता है, that one person will understand the truth. He comes out of the bondage. So, कृत्रिमो अकृत्रिमात् सर्गात् न कदाचन जायते. So, नहीं कारणतः कार्यम उदेति असदृशम क्वचित. And is second is from the karana, totally dissimilar karya cannot come. What is there in karana alone will be there in the karya too. From the existing cause, the non-existing effect cannot come. From some particular cause, the different effect cannot come. नहीं कारणतः कार्यमुदेति असदृशम. Dissimilar karya cannot come the karana. Okay. Leela says an example. No, no, no. From a karana, dissimilar karya can come. She gives an example. Karana is mud. Karya is dissimilar pot. What is the dissimilarity you are saying in the pot other than mud is? She says the karana mud cannot be used for storing, bringing water. But the pot can be used for storing, bringing water. That's what is the upayogata, vyavaharik upayogata. She is taking the hetu as a hetu for saying that there is a real pot other than the mud, independent of the mud. That's what her explanation. That's what we have to understand from that. All this we know when we study the Mandukya Upanishad too. It will be easier for us to relate. और ये पढ़कर वो पढ़ो तब वो भी easy होता है. So the Leela's point is दृश्यते कारणात् कार्यम सुविलक्षणम. अंबिके, totally different lakshan wala effect karya can come from the karana. Example, am vadatum ashakta mrut. Am means water. Adatum means to bring and store. Ashakta is incapable, the mrut, the mud. Gataha tajjaha, the pot which is created out of the mud or born out of the mud, tadaspadam, it can be used for storing the water. This is the difference. Therefore, vilakshana karya can come from the karana. She is this. So these are the ones where our thinking goes in wrong direction, has to be brought into right direction. What is it? Just because there is a particular upayogita, be attentive. In an effect, let us say the pot here, that doesn't mean that it is real, it is independent, it is other than the pot or the mud. That's where we have to be very conscious in setting right our understanding. व्यावहारिक उपयोगिता के मात्र से घड़ा सत्य नहीं बनता, वो मड से अलग नहीं हो सकता, इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं हो सकता. Sridevi is telling now. Mother is explaining the same thing. That if the Karana is exactly like the Karana, always, then there would have been no problem at all, because mud always will be mud. You are talking about Karana Karya Sambandha because of Lesha Matra difference only. And that difference is not valid or valuable. You catch that point. है ना, मड ही मड के रूप में ही उतरता है, तो why do we call it as a pot, and why will you see anything else mud के रूप में? तो the whole issue is coming because of little difference only. And where is the difference? Not in the actuality of between the mud and pot. दोनों में substratum के रूप में mud ही है. So in some other reason there is difference, which is not so relevant. Then what is the other reason? The Rupa and the Nama. Mud is just like that, like a lump there. Here the pot is in a shape. That's the only difference. But अधिष्ठान दृष्टि से दोनों में एक है कि नहीं, ये वाला सूक्ष्म बुद्धि कहते, और इसको समझकर स्वीकारने को शुद्ध बुद्धि कहते. सूक्ष्म बुद्धि doesn't catch this. शुद्ध बुद्धि doesn't accept this. That the pot is not dissimilar from the mud. Just because it can be used for water and mud cannot be used. वो उपयोगिता घड़े को अपने आप भिन्न सत्य साबित नहीं करता from the mud, that it can exist independent of mud. Isn't it? Everywhere. Just because I am wearing ornaments and I don't wear the gold biscuit, that wearing of the ornaments, wearability of ornament doesn't make the ornaments real independent other than gold. So too, the whole Jagat, with all its Vyavaharika Upayogitas, won't make it independently existing apart from other than the Brahman. This is what we have to catch. बढ़िया कि नहीं? अब बात समझ में आ रहा है ना? Because of its some utility value, which even may not be there in the Adhisthana, that doesn't make real and independent. This is Sukshma Buddhi. If you catch it, catch it. Now this is called intuitive Buddhi. Now this I cannot zabardasti you to accept it. And other than telling it, I cannot help any other way. It has to click to each one. Like 10 years back, it might have not clicked up to me too. But सुनते सुनते अब मुझे click हो गया. Click हो गया means I don't have any question. I understand just because of some difference in the Rupa and Nama and some utility, the Karya cannot be existing independent of Karana. That's clicked to me. अगर आपको हुआ तो अच्छा है. This is the difference. Where Sukshma Buddhi, this becomes understandable, acceptable. So, Sri Devi's explanation, Mother Saraswati ki, Sampadyate hi yat karyam karanaihi sahakarivihi मुख्य कारण वैचित्र्यम किंचित तत्र अवलोक्यते. So yat karyam sampadyate sahakarivi karanai. When a karya is manifesting out of karana with some sahakari karanas. Here the upadana karana is same in the mud and the pot. But there some other sahakari karanas came. That is the nimitta karana, the pot maker, karana karana, the wheel and the lakadi. Because of that, some shape came to that mud. And to that shape, for some purpose, let us say of selling, etc., a name is given that it's a pot. So because of sahakari karanas, the mukhya karana appear to be little different. Or the karya which has come out of karana appearing to be little different. And what is the difference here? Only rupanama. That's because of sahakari karanas, that is the intelligence of the pot maker and the wheel and the chakra, wheel and the danda, on which when this mud was kept and moved, it took a shape. But that entirely doesn't say, therefore the pot is different from the mud. In that case, give me the mud, take the pot. मुख्य कारण तो वही है. So मुख्य कारण वैचित्र्य means little chitra different from the mukhya karana, the mud. The pot appears to be merely in shape and name and utility. That doesn't give reality to the pot other than the mud. वो अपने आप सत्य नहीं होता और मड से अलावा और कुछ नहीं होता हो. जस्ट बिकॉज उसको नाम है, जस्ट बिकॉज उसको रूप है, जस्ट बिकॉज उसका कोई व्यावहारिक उपयोगिता है. So to the entire Jagat, because it has name, form and some Vyavaharik Upyogita, it is neither other than the cause Brahman nor can exist independent of Brahman. ये मजेदार बात. If you catch it, बन गया. If you are able to grasp it, you are tuning to Vedanta. And otherwise what? If the mud remains only as mud, no pot is made out of it, then the Vyavahara will never exist. So the Brahman, if remains as Brahman, if is not superimposed upon with the Rupanama, then there would have been no Vyavahara at all. Therefore, Vyavahara के लिए ही परब्रह्म पे ही रूप नाम का आरोपण होता है और ये व्यावहारिक मात्र है, पारमार्थिक नहीं है. Therefore, the entire Jagat is Vyavaharikena asti, Paramarthikena na asti. So that which is not there Paramarthikena, only for some Vyavahara it's there, it's called Mithya. It's called Kalpita. Adhisthana is always Brahman, which is Satya. After saying this, Sampadyate hi yat karyam sahakari karanaihi mukhya karana vaichitram kinchit tatra avalokyate. Now, vada tad bhartru sargasya kim prithvyadishu karanam. That Bharta and the whole thing you saw on your Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the Prithvyadi Panchamahabhutas Karana for it. That whole setup which you saw. Then Tad Bhumandalam Ataha Bhuti Jata Tatra Varanane. That entire Bhumandala there, which was similar like this, has it been born from this Bhumandala? क्या ये कारण बन के कार्य बना? Mata is asking, Leela to contemplate upon. Is your husband made from the Panchamahabhutas, Prithvi Adi Karana? And the entire Sabha setup which you saw just like this, is it born out of this? Is that born out of this? Tad Bhumandala to Bhuti Jata Tatra Varanane? Third question, Gatam Chedita Uddiya. Is it that this whole Bhumandalam setup has flew in the air, space and reached there? If it has reached there, Gatam Chedita Uddiya Kutasyad Iha Bhutalam, then this should have not been there if it had gone there flying. ये तो यथावत इधर है. So sahakarini kani iva karanani atra karane. So therefore, what is the mukhya karana and sahakari karana for the appearance of that your husband and the entire setup there. And for your assurance, you called here a sabha and saw that every one of them are alive here. So they are here, you have seen them there also. So unka कारण क्या है? Of those beings whom you saw, your husband you saw, the Rajya Sabha you saw, and all the interiors, exteriors, whatever you saw. Okay? Therefore, I am telling you a very important Vedantic principle. What is it? Karananam abhavepi yodeti sahakarita. So, without having its own original karana, on something else it is kalpita, that tat purva karanat nanyat sarvena iti anubhuyate. It has only the vasana rupi purva karana, not any substantial thing as karana for it. Here the purva karana is smrutyadi. So, what you have seen on your Nirvikalpa Samadhi avastha is in the waking plane what you saw and of all whatever impressions you gathered through your smriti you have projected it there. It's like dream only and it is like dream unreal also. So, karananam abhavevi yuva udeti sahakarita tat purva karanat na anyat sarvena iti anubhuyate. Iti sarvena anubhuyate. Everybody knows it. It's only because of some impressions that it is projected there in you. That is never there. It only you, first of all, you only experienced it, and you are telling me, I didn't experience it, I am explaining to you. In that explanation, it is your own purva karanas of mano impressions that projected that world. Other than that, that has never born from this, that is never independent. Although you felt you saw your husband receiving all messages, namaskaras, everything there, the king seated. Okay, now Leela watch. Leela, when mother gave a hint, she caught immediately because of her purity and her bhakti shraddha to mother and mother's blessings. Mother is there to educate her only, not to teach only. Instead of directly teaching, she is making her think, contemplate, and understand. That's also teaching only. Leela says, Smriti sa devi madbhartuhu tatha spharattvamagata smritistat karanam vedmi sargoyamiti nishchayaha. Devi sa madbhartuhu tatha spharattvamagata smriti. Now I realize that really this is here only and that is not there yet appeared, that with all this spashtata, my husband there and all of that is smriti only. So Smriti sa Devi Madbhartuhu Tata Smaratma. It's all Smriti only. It's all mental impressions only. Therefore, Smriti Tat Karanam Vedmi Sargoyamiti Nishchaya. Therefore, the entire that creation is caused by the Smriti only. Really, there is no substantial creation there. Are you catching the thought? Really, it is not there. Smriti only projected it. कोई दूसरे पंच महाभूत से वो नहीं बना और इससे भी वो नहीं बना और ये उड़कर उधर नहीं गया. Same tomorrow onwards or day after, maybe after today, in Mandukya also, same discussion comes with the help of the example of Alat. वही almost वही example है, explanation here. This world has not gone there. No other Pancha Mahabhutas were the cause for that one. Still you experienced it. Where from it must have come? It is Smriti only. Therefore, Smriti tat karanam vedmi. The Smriti, in other words, is called samskaras, vasanas. So, Smriti tat karanam vedmi sargoyam iti nishchayaha. I am sargaha Smriti karanam. This is what is my nishchaya. After this, when she came, Leela, as expected and wanted and guided by the mother, mother takes her to the next step. And she goes to that next step of understanding too. That's our greatness. And by listening to that, we also should go to the next level of understanding. Katha is not for Katha, no? Here, such Kathas are for us to evolve like the seeker there. in the understandings and avoidances. Next level, mother lifts her too. What she says, Smrutirakasha Rupacha Yata Tajjastathaivate Bhartu Sargonubhutopi Savyoma Iva Tatha Bale. So, Shruti Akasha Rupacha. Now, where from the Shruti comes? It is earlier empty only, Akasha Rupa only. Shruti has nothing of its own matter again to project the world, no? It is emptiness, therefore it's Akasha Rupa only. Therefore, Bharto Sarga Anubhutosi. So, whatever the Anubhava of your husband's creation there you saw, husband and the respective other things, all of them are up to Smriti you understood. Next level of Smriti is Vyoma Eva Akasha Eva. Which Akasha? Obviously Chitta Akasha. So the Chitta Akasha only through Smriti Samskara appeared like this world. Next level में Chitta cannot be other than Chidakasha. Then how come Chidakasha became Chittakasha? Through the Smritis appeared like this world there. That is the Avidya only. In that Avidya only, which is the word called Maya, these Shaktis are there of hiding the Chidakasha, projecting the Chittakasha, and projecting the Chitta Jagat in it. So, up to Smriti, she went. Then the mother lifted her to the next level. Even the Smriti has no basis of its own. So it is Shunyam only. Therefore, Shunya is Akasha. From the Chitta Akasha only, all these are Kalpita. And what is Chitta Akasha? It's nothing but not knowing the Chidakasha and feeling that there is something other than Chidakasha. That feeling of something other than Chidakasha is called Chitta Akasha. Like the feeling that there is something other than the rope. Why something other than rope? Because rope you have not seen as rope. If you see it as rope, then why something other thought will come? कुछ तो है, but क्या है नहीं दिखा. Something is there, but as rope it is there, I do not know. There was something other. From that only, the mind manipulates to project in that emptiness only the snake, depending on samskar. तो किसी को स्नेक दिखा, किसी को गार्लैंड दिखा, अपने अपने संस्कार के अनुसार. But before the each one samskara projects their respective object like snake or garland, common thing to all of them is what? There is something other than the rope. And another common thing for all of them, where they know it or not, is there is rope only. That's why any one of those 5, 6 people who are seeing, one is seeing snake, one is seeing garland, one is seeing hose pipe, one is seeing bhuchidra, one is seeing jaladhara, one is seeing newspaper. Let us say 6. Any one of them, anytime, can realize the rope as rope, and his delusion goes, whichever he projected. So the Satvastu is common to all, the rope. Then the ignorance of Sadvastu is also common to all. Then the what they project depends on what samskara they have. And any one of them they realize the substratum, the rope, their respective ajnana of the rope goes, then the subsequent projected that particular thing goes away. So commonly all of us seeing are Brahman. Commonly all of us don't have the knowledge of Brahman. Commonly all of us are those seeing Brahman considering it as something else. And what each one of us consider it as something is depending on our smriti or samskara. So what is the basis of the smriti? It is shunya only, akasha only. That akasha, chittakasha is nothing but chidakasha not seen. How to do this? The other way around. When you know the chidakasha, the chittakasha, chitta jagat, bhutakasha, bhuta jagat, all of them do not exist independently. They may appear like appearing. Earlier were appearing, now also appear. Earlier the appearance was taken as real because the reality was not known. Now the appearance will be taken as appearance, not real. because the reality is known. ये है वेदांत. मजा आता है, थोड़ा थोड़ा दिमाग में चढ़ने लगता है तो थोड़ा थोड़ा ही होने दो. वी आर रिलैक्स्ड. आराम से पढ़ेंगे, आराम से समझेंगे. जितना प्रभु हमें अवसर मौका, he will give us to understand that much. Now Leela is so Leela, beautiful, wonderful lady. She jumps into another understanding even without mother being telling her. That's the greatness of a wonderfully tuned seeker. You know what she says? When mother told that world of your husband which you saw has no its own reason of Panchamahabhutas there, nor it is affected from this world, nor this world has gone there. Therefore, it has no direct karana. It has some sahakari karana. What is sahakari karana? Smriti only. And smriti independently can't be there. It is some manipulation. Where? In the shunya. That shunya we call it as akash. Therefore, that akasha only through the smriti appear like that world. Of what you saw in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi of your husband, having got which you are asking me a question now, which is akritrima, kritrima. तो वो प्रूव कर दिया कि वो कृत्रिम है. Now Leela is so wise and intelligent with same analogy and analysis. She talks about this particular jagat where she is now without taught by mother that ये भी आकाशी है. Mother claps only. अरे wonderful बेटा, तुमने तो पकड़ ही लिया without it my telling. See that? That's the phala of upasana to mother, that antakarana becomes shuddha. Then what mother teaches, that is understood. Going to teach, that also is understood. और अपन क्या है, जो अभी बता रहे चिल्ला चिल्ला के, उसको भी नहीं समझाएंगे, और आगे जो बताने वाले हैं उसको पक्का गलत ही समझे. What is told, not understood. What is not told is certainly misunderstood. We are not Leela, we are lollipop. So Leela uvacha smriti akashamaya sargaha yatha bharturmamoditaha tathaive manye sasargotra nidarshanam. So smriti akashamaya sargaha. That yatha mama bhartu udita mama. You told me and it's convincing to me that my bhartas, that whole world which I saw, it was from smriti, smriti from the akash. Tatha eva, in the same way, imam aham manye, even this whole thing also I consider. Sa sargaha atra nidarshanam, because that creation has come from that akasha. So this creation also is a projection on this akasha, I consider. Am I right, mother? I feel so. Mother says, wow, wonderful. Sri Devi Vacha Evameta. So be it. It is true. Evam etat. Etat evam. This is what is right. Exactly you caught. जो मुझे बता, मैं जिस चीज को मुझे बताना था तुमको, for which I gave you that निर्विकल्प अनुभूति, exactly that thing only you caught. I'm so happy with you. As if mother says, evam etat asat sargaha bhartuhu tair bhati bhasuraha. So, Bhasuraha resplendently of your husband, that Sarga, that which you saw, that is Asatu. Tata eva ayam iha abhati. Same way, these entire, more realistically appearing Jagat also abhati. Pashyami etadaham sute. And I am in that state of the Chidakasha Anubhuti, from which standpoint, as you understood that Bhartus Jagat to be nothing but Akasha, I understand this is also nothing but the pure Chidakasha only. You also realize that. You have intellectually understood. Now, in your next level of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you won't see your husbands that loka, but you see the reality. Aha. He evametad asat sargaha bhartuhu tair bhati basuraha tata eva ayam iha abhati pashyami etad aham he sute. So it's my vision that I see this entire world is nothing but smriti, that is Maya, and that is nothing but the Akasha, and that Akasha is nothing but pure Chidakasha, pure consciousness. Therefore, Try to catch if with all the solidity of this world, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, and then there is distance in meters, kilometers. There's a time in minutes and hours and days. There are objects measured in again kilos or weights, etc. The colors mentioned with the blacks, blues, brights. The taste with all. Itra is a milkar is sub nothing but Chidakasha only. Projected all that. That's the power of Maya to do the kalpana of all this. Why? Because we experience all these things are existing. First thing. Everything is existing. Black existing, white existing. Sweet existing, sour existing. 10 meters existing, 1 kg existing. Everything is existence only. Na? So yesterday existed, today existing, tomorrow exists. All is existing only. तो सत्ता के ऊपर ही काल का देश काल के मिक्सचर से द एंटायर रूप नाम जगत का कल्पना होने के बावजूद भी लाइक with all the ripples bubbles still the water remains say water only, so too the Brahman is Brahman. This is called as Jagat Bhranti Varnanam or Pratipadanam. All this we have seen in Mandukya Upanishad almost similarly, few things here and there. Point is same. Now Sri Devi watch. Mother further speaks. Nay, Leela asks the question. She just wants to know the process. So, yatha patyuramurtosmat sargat sargo brahmatmakaha jata tatha kathaya me jagat brahmanivruttaye. See, yatha patyuhu amurtaha asmat sargat sarga brahmatmaka. My husband existing, that creation, though appear to be murtyatmaka to me, but still it is not, because it is not created, it is brahmatmakaha, jataha. How that got projected? So to this particular jagat, which relatively I have understood this also to be smrityatmakaha, akashatmakaha, brahmatmakaha. But katham jataha, jataha tatha kathaya me jagat brahmani vrutti. So just the description you give me to understand that jagat is भ्रांतजन्य but not real. जगत है नामक इस भ्रम को दूर करने के लिए आप मुझे एक्सप्लेन करो. So then the mother gives the description of in this pure consciousness only all these are projected and named and a given reality. Then Vyavahara is done. Then that Vyavahara added to give more reality. Giving reality doesn't make something real. Real alone is real all the time. The things which are given reality will go away also when we don't give it. Like friendship. It's not real. That's why as long as you like it, it's there. The moment you say, oh, chhod diya isko, wo ho gaya. But Brahman, you can't do like that. You may forget Brahman for 2 million lives. You may forget, but it doesn't go anywhere. Reality. And in these 2 million lives, where you forgot Brahman and Brahman did not disappear, you have gone through millions of shariras, experiences, but all of them have disappeared. That's the proof to say that this is mithya and that's real. So the waves come and go, that's the proof that it is unreal. Water is always water, that's the proof that it is real. And there are no two things like water and wave. One only called with other name. And that which called as other name, that is taken as real by us. That's the completion of our delusion. Further, we relate to it with all ragadvesha. That's the next level of downfall. This is what, where is it happening? In our own manabuddhi. Outside the world always is like that only. हमारे मन बुद्धि में ही एक अज्ञान मोह है, इसलिए हमारे मन बुद्धि में ज्ञान आना चाहिए और मोह का निर्मूलन होना है. तो अज्ञान दृष्टि से वी आर सीइंग द ब्रह्मन एज जगत. ज्ञान दृष्टि से वी रियलाइज द जगत एज ब्रह्मन. Like in the morning also we saw in our Mandukya, when the Brahman misunderstood is Jagat, And when the Jagat is correctly understood, is Brahman. But Brahman misunderstood is Jagat. But Jagat rightly understood is Brahman. Paramatma only. So the description. Prak smruter bhranti matratma sargoyamudito yatha swapna brahmatmako bhati tathedam katyate shrunu prak smrutehe bhranti matra atma sargahayam udita. From the earlier smriti only, this creation is projected. And which is the first smriti? You cannot say. Therefore, smriti is illogical, smriti janita. This kalpita rupanamatmaka jagat also is baseless. Therefore, like in the case of the courts, when the proper evidences are not brought, put, है then the case is rejected only. क्योंकि ठीक तरह वो सारे प्रूफ्स एविडेंसेस नहीं है. So to evidences नहीं होने के कारण the jagat is unreal. What is his Brahman? The other day it was such a surprising thing that in Delhi somewhere, how many 20, 30, 40 dead bodies of children or the skeletons were found. Our inquiry went on for 16 to 18 years. In the 2 days verdict was 2 days back. Because of the prosecutors, etc., could not provide sufficient evidences, that person is released, that he is acquitted. अब देखो 30-40 dead bodies are or skeletons are seen by the whole world. It has become such a big news for the whole world. They are physically seen, and all who were accused were acquitted. Then who killed them? अब देखो, nobody convicted. See that Maya. You are really seeing the dead body or the skeletons, the children dying. अब प्रूफ नहीं मिला तो बोलते हैं कि बाइज्जत इसको रिहा कर दिया, जो भी है. Acquitted. In the world only ऐसा होता है. So too, the whole Jagat is Purva Smriti. Purva Smriti is Purva Smriti. First Purva Smriti is from where it cannot be established. Therefore, even that Purva Smriti as a Hetu, Karana, for this Jagat also, is for convenience sake and imagination only, but not factual. What is factual then? Jagat is never there. What is there? Brahman alone. And these are not physical objects that I can shift from there to put here and give it in your hands. These are all intellectual apprehensions. How much pure, subtle the intellect has to be to catch these truths. You and I, by studying our Shastras every day, morning, evening, preparing our intellects for that, like a scientist, starting from scientist A, slowly prepares to become scientist K, M, N, L, O, P. In ISRO में साइंटिस्ट ए से लेकर जेड तक होते हैं या वट एवर द लेवल्स. As and when their investigation capacities, discoveries, the both the deep inner insights as well as intuitiveness grows on growing, he is promoted. We too, through our daily study, developing that subtle intellect, intuitive intellect, to understand these things, accept these things, which are not possible to an ordinary, gross, impure intellect. This thing which we understand now, 10 साल पहले नहीं समझ में आता था. और अब हम किसी को कहते हैं, हम समझ के हमको, people don't understand now. They don't accept. After 10 years, then they'll understand. ये तमाशा ऐसा ही चलता रहा. And now, what we understood is understood. There are some more things which are not yet understood by us. लगातार लगे रहो. After some 1 or 2 decades, even that is understood. That's why don't give up Shastra Shravana, Adhyana, Manana, Chintana, Anupasana and Dhyana. So what Mother describes this entire Srishti, just some 10-12 slokas. Tomorrow only we'll see that. Thank you. And then we'll do the part of the next one. Ha 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 ha. There a Brahmana story will be told with his Brahmana Patni. Both of them want to become the king and queen. And they died. And they only you. She says, and this lady is surprised. Same with Arjuna in Gita. How come you are just born few years before me and you say you gave this Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga to Bhagwan, Surya and he gave to his son Manu, etc. मैं कैसे believe करूं? अरे पुत्र, many avatars for me, lives for you have happened. Difference is you know nothing of them, I know all of them. That's what Bhagavan gives avatar rahasya. बहूनि मे वेत्यानि जन्मानि तव च अर्जुन तानि अहम वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्त. So here also Mother Leela reveals to her. Yet all of these are still imaginary projection only. It's endless if you don't put an end. If you put an end, it's over. So too, as long as endlessly you continue this delusion, so long endlessly the reality is not realized. The moment you put end to this, you realize reality and it is eternal. Majidar. There is not play of words only, mind you. They're all intellectual apprehensions followed by true sadhana when done, the direct personal experiences too. May all of that happen to all of us as soon as possible. May us be so pure in our heart, in our intentions, that the divinity chooses to bless us and reveals to us the divinity which we are. ओम पूर्णमदः ओम शांति शांति शांति. श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय, वशिष्ठ भगवान की जय, सरस्वती माता की जय, लीला आदि समस्त श्रोता साधक गण की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. थैंक यू. हा हा. लेट अस स्टडी योग धारावली.